Okay, Jeffrey.
I hereby declare open this congregation, which is held for the conferment of university awards. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, graduating students and colleagues, Selamat pagi. My name's David Byrne, and I'm proud to be Pro-Vice Chancellor of the Faculty of Medical Sciences at Newcastle University. It's my great privilege to welcome you to this, the 9th NewMed graduation ceremony here at the Holiday Inn Villa Hotel here in Johor Bahru Centre for students completing their MBBS programme and also those completing their Masters in Research and Masters in Medical Education. We're sorry we actually can't hold this ceremony on campus, but in many ways it's a sign of our success because over the years we now have too many students to hold it there anymore. But I think you'd have to agree the Holiday Villa here is doing a fantastic job for us and we're very grateful to them. I would also like to welcome those who may not be able to be here in person today, but who are watching either via live streaming or perhaps later through catch-up. Graduation ceremonies are absolutely the highlight of our university year. They're joyous, colourful occasions when you earn the right to wear with pride the robes that symbolise the award of your academic qualifications. And walking around yesterday on the NewMed campus with Chris was absolutely fantastic to see all the students having such fun, having photographs taken with their families. It's really lovely to see you enjoying the success that you've worked so hard to enjoy, and that you've had a chance to take a moment, hopefully now and yesterday, to reflect on your achievement and to reflect on all the future holding in store for you. In qualifying as doctors today, your achievement is even more special, given all that you've had to contend with over the past 2 years or more. In many ways, therefore, you've succeeded against the odds. It was in January 2020 that we were first all becoming aware of the new virus, severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, now more simply called COVID-19, that was spreading out of China to many countries, including Malaysia. The first case of COVID-19, as you will all recall, was detected in Malaysia on the 25th of January 2020. And we had 117 cases a day nationally on March the 18th, when we first had to close down the campus under Ministry of Higher Education instruction and move to online learning. What a very different world we live in today. As you all know, the first waves of COVID infection that we've had here in Malaysia meant that we've had to undergo a number of very strict lockdowns over the past 2.5 years. And I think it's fair to say these have been more strict than students and colleagues faced in the UK. This period was very difficult for everyone, but I think particularly you as a group, you've had 3 years of clinical training significantly disrupted. Further to this, you've also had to learn how to manage online teaching, which is very different, as you all know, from face-to-face teaching. And numerous changes to your timetables, often at very short notice, changes in exam format and timing, and also restrictions on travel across the country and internationally, which has meant that many of you were not able to see your families and loved ones at a time of great stress and worry. So as I said before, you have absolutely succeeded against all the odds. And you have qualified in the face of challenges, the like of which none of us have had to experience in our lifetime. Your resilience and ability to adapt to circumstances so completely beyond your control have been truly remarkable. And they are qualities that I'm confident will serve you well as you embark on the next stage of your lives as doctors. The fact that you've successfully negotiated what is at the best of times an arduous training under the shadow of a global pandemic makes what you've accomplished all the more admirable. So I don't know about you, but I think that really does deserve acknowledgement. So I would like to invite everyone, my colleagues, graduates and guests, to stand now and give yourselves a really big round of applause. When I was at your stage, I remember 2 things, and it was really brought home to me actually walking around yesterday and speaking to a number of you and hearing where you were going to be working as doctors. The first thing was so happy to have qualified and actually to enjoy a few days off with family, friends, and traveling around, enjoying a well-earned holiday. But the other emotion that I felt, and it came across from some of you yesterday, was being increasingly aware that my time was upon me to start as what was known then as a house officer, perhaps to some of you foundation doctors, and that time was rapidly approaching and feeling excited but also apprehensive. And if I did a show of hands with you just now, I would imagine with regard to apprehension, there would be a lot of hands going up from the newly qualified doctors in front of me. What if something happened that I wasn't prepared for or didn't know? What if I couldn't keep up with the pressures and the workload? And I guess these thoughts are maybe going through some of your minds just now. So I hope you might hear me out if I give a few words of advice to you. First, remember, you're not being paid to worry. If you don't know, admit it to yourself and to others. I've said it throughout the years to all different grades of doctors. The best doctors are the doctors who know when they don't know. The best doctors are those who know when they don't know. Second, you're not alone. One of the wonderful things about working as a doctor are the teams you'll be associated with. Learn from others and aim to pick up good habits and ways of working. Finally, and most importantly, listen to your patients. As a rather difficult neurologist down at Queen Square in London once taught me, whilst terrifying me at the same time as well, I have to say, listen to your patients. If you only have 10 minutes with a patient, spend 9 minutes on the history, and that will reap rich rewards before you rush to get your stethoscope or your tendon hammer out. No matter what technological advances we're going to see now or in the future, the value of taking a good history will always be key to how you practice, be it from a diagnostic or indeed a management standpoint. Graduates, as you look forward to embarking upon the next chapter of your lives, I also want you to remember that as a doctor, you'll have a vital part to play in bringing to life our vision of Newcastle as a world-leading university, advancing knowledge, providing creative solutions and solving global problems. As a Newcastle graduate, you share our aspiration to harness our academic excellence, creativity, and innovation for the benefit of society. Put simply, to make people's lives better. And no better example of this than the graduates sat in front of me today. You had the final 3 years of your program affected by COVID and saw the impact firsthand on individual patients as well as the healthcare system here in Malaysia. Many of you stepped up to help deal with the crisis through working clinically, helping with the vaccination program, and through local initiatives such as Mercy Malaysia. As I've heard firsthand, many of you will now be flying to different parts of the UK in the next few days to take up foundation training posts in the NHS, while some of you are taking up house officer posts here in Malaysia in the near future. But I know wherever you've chosen to practice, either now or in the future, you'll do yourselves and the university proud. I'm always amazed by what our students achieve after graduating, and our medical students are no exception in this regard. As Joel A. Barker said, and I quote, "Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world." I think I can safely predict that several of you graduates sat here in front of me today will have the vision and take actions that will change the world. And I look forward to hearing about that in the future. But always surround yourselves with as many brilliant people as you can find from a range of social, ethnic, and academic backgrounds. And don't be afraid if some of them challenge your usual way of thinking. That's how you learn and grow as a person. Look to surround yourself with people who will lift you higher and seek to lift them in return. That's so important as a doctor, regardless of your career stage. Don't be afraid to lead and go against the grain occasionally if you feel passionate about something, even if it might sometimes make you be unpopular. Make career choices that challenge you and take setbacks in your stride. Remember that no one ever reaches their full potential by staying in their comfort zone. I gather there might be a Leeds United supporter, at least one, in the audience today. And I'm going to give you a quote now from the ex-Leeds United football manager, Marco Bielsa, which is perhaps relevant here. "The moments in my life when I have improved are closely related to failure. The moments in my life when I have regressed are closely related to success. Being successful deforms us as human beings. It relaxes us. It plays tricks on us. It makes us worse individuals. It feeds our egos. Failure is the complete opposite. It forms us, makes us more solid, brings us closer to our convictions, makes us more coherent." I will just say at this point, I'm not a Leeds United supporter myself, I am a Sunderland supporter, but I think the quotation from a manager was quite eloquent. And finally, when talent and opportunity alone are not enough, if there's one thing I hope your university experience has taught you, it's that there are no limits to what you can achieve with determination and sheer hard work, and you've certainly done that. Graduation is not the end, it is a beginning. Whether you're about to start your first foundation or house officer position, go on to further study, or travel the world, I want you to know how proud we are of all that you've achieved and all that you will go on to achieve in the future. As a Newcastle University graduate, you're now part of a constantly growing global community of fellow alumni. This summer, our alumni community will reach above 250,000 members. This network is here to support and hopefully inspire you professionally and socially wherever you are in the world. By being active within this powerful network, you'll discover the opportunities and benefits available to you. The university's Advancement Office would like you to help them make the most of it, so please remember to stay in touch. So graduates, On behalf of everyone at Newcastle University, congratulations and well done to you all. We wish you health, success, happiness, and fulfillment in all that you do.
Mr. Pro-Vice-Chancellor, I certify that the candidates to be presented at this congregation have satisfied all the requirements of the university. Mr. Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Julie Platt prays leave to present candidates who are qualified to proceed to awards in the School of Medical Education.
Dr. Platt.
Mr. Pro-Vice-Chancellor, I present to you candidates to be admitted to the awards of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery in the School of Medical Education.
By the authority of the university, I admit these candidates to the awards for which they are now qualified.
The following graduate is presented for the degrees of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery for Class 2021. Brian Mock Vern Yan.
Well done, Brian. Congratulations.
The following graduates are presented for the degrees of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery for Class 2022. Abhishek Suresh Kumar.
Well done, Abhishek.
Irene Yuliati Sanjaya.
Well done. Congratulations.
AJ Rajasekaran Bhaskaran. Alvin Tan Yong Zong.
Well done, Al.
Amutha Saragasan. Angeline Lee.
Well done, Angeline.
Anisa Farhana Binti Sahrir. Anisha Ravi Buchia.
Well done.
Anne and Jerry Mbari.
Well done.
Bijan Nasan Siva.
Well done, Bijan. Congratulations.
Cassandra Clara Ramadas.
Well done, Cassandra. Congratulations. Well done.
Charmaine Chua Yin Ying. Cheong Sia Si.
Well done.
Che Pin Chung. Cheryl Yong. Chu Un Chong.
Congratulations.
Chin Wen Shan.
Well done, Chen Wensheng.
Chong Hong Hong.
Well done. Congratulations. Excellent.
Chua Shay Min.
Well done, Xiaowei. Well done.
Cynthia Wanjiru Kamaru.
Well done, Cynthia. Congratulations.
Daphne Lu Yi Jun.
Congratulations. Well done.
Dina Iliana Binti Nafri.
Well done, Tina. Congratulations.
Darmila Jayabalan. Dina Garan Narayanan. Eddie Han Wee Tan. Pei Ling. Frida Jong Seo Earn. Go Mei E. Grace King Hui En. Hafiza Binti Ahmed Tajuddin. Hanan Safwa Binti Mohammed Aslam. Ho Jo Hin. Wan Yik Roy. Wang Li Ho. Jason Ting Seong Kai. Jaslyn Ho Jia Shin. Justine Ko Chia Sin. Ku Jin Kang. Kok Si Chi. Kong Si Hieng. Lai Jia Jin. Lai Wei Ling. Lao Yu Quan. Li Xian Wei. Li Yi Jia. Li Zi Si. Leonard Cheng Ron. Lim Chin Kent. Lim Zi Wei. Lim Yi Zheng. Ling Yit Ting. Lo Jing Shan. Lo Zi Wei. Matthew U. Chon Hoi. Mohammed Naji Ilmi bin Mohammed Norazam. Mohammed Irfan bin Ikhtar. Mukund Suresh. Ing Bing Wei. Ng Kai Yi. Ng Yu Tong. Nick Nur Sabrina, Akila Binti Nick Shukri. Nur Farah Asequin Binti Muhammad Razali. Nur Akila Shahira Binti Samsudin. Nurul Asequin Binti Muhammad Halim. Ong Kar Mun. Ong So Lok. Wei Kai Jet. Parvina Soriane Ryanan. Fan Jun Hua. Fong Yen Wen. Sabrina Cheong Pei Yi. Sally Fong Lee Er. Shaguna Shankari Chandran. Shad Atala Hamada Atala Hamuda. Shirashi Kumaran. Shamini Saladuri. Shantanan Bathamulai. Sia Jian N. Siti Manira Binti Muhammad Rafiq. Sajitha Veena Yagam. Sunil Singh Pentlia Sarabjit Singh. Sweta Sri Ramesh. Tan Ji Yi. Tan Ping Mei. Tan Yu Ling. Tay Mei Ting. Teo Yong Xuan. Chu Ru Jek. Tashmita Kanagisparan Thevar. Thevitra Mohanadas. Thavina Aruku Naidu. Tiong Hong Wei. Vaisnave Govindasamy. Wong Yan Min. Wong Yin Sin. Wong Zen Sin. Wong Zen Yi. Yap Sin Wee. Yap Wei Kan. Thank. Yasin Hassan Hamad Al Nil Awad Al Karim. Yek Sin Yi. Yong Yi Ying. Yu Zi Lin. The following graduate is presented for the degrees of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery and Master in Research. Grace Ting Sin Yan. Jerry Tan Hai Kok. Nan Wei Hao. The following graduate is presented for the degrees of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery and Master in Medical Education. Lai Wei Jan. The following graduate is presented for the degree of Bachelor of Science Honours in Medical Studies, Mohammed Hanafia bin Mohammed Nur.
Professor Harinarayanan Radhakrishna will now lead the Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery graduates in declaring their commitment to a code of good medical practice. Medical graduates, will you please stand?
Please repeat after me. As a medical graduate of Newcastle University, and now as a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity.
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity.
The health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration.
The health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration.
I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient.
I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient.
I will maintain the utmost respect for human life.
I will maintain the utmost respect for human life.
I will not permit considerations of age, disease, or disability, creed, ethnic origin.
I will not permit considerations of age, disease, or disability, creed, ethnic origin,
Gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing,
gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing,
or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient.
or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient.
I will respect the secrets that are confided in me even after the patient has died.
Secrets that are confided in me even after the patient has died.
I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity and in accordance with good medical practice.
I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity and in accordance with good medical practice.
I will foster the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession.
I will foster the honor and traditions of the medical profession.
I will give to my teachers, colleagues, and students the respect and gratitude that is their due.
I will give to my teachers, colleagues, and students the respect and gratitude that is their due.
I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and the advancement of healthcare.
I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and the advancement of healthcare.
I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard.
I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard.
I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat.
I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat.
I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor.
I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor.
Thank you. You may sit. I am now delighted to invite Professor David Byrne, who will present one continuing student and two of our graduates with prizes for their performance in the last academic year. The following student is presented with the Year 1 TM Teo Prize, Len Shu Hui. The following student is presented with the Year 5 TM Teo Prize, Jerry Tan Hai Kok. The following graduate is presented with the Stage 5 Walton Prize and the EduCity Best Student Award for 2022. Nurul Ashikin binti Muhammad Halim. Before the proceedings are brought to a close, I'm delighted to introduce our student orator, Jerry Tan Hai Kok, who graduated with Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery and Master in Research. Jerry will address the congregation on behalf of the students we are celebrating here today.
Thank you, Professor Hari. A very good morning I bid to our guests of honor, staff, parents, and fellow graduates. I'm thrilled to represent the class of 2022, which is no easy feat. As all of us here, each of us, have our own unique university experience and personal stories to share. However, in spite of our differences, today there is one achievement that binds us all together, an achievement that we should proudly celebrate. Over the past few years, we have faced not only grueling assessments, but also intense interruptions to our teaching and learning due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But today, we can proudly say that in the face of those challenges, we triumphed and we have made it. Congratulations, batch of 2022. We have graduated. We started off in first year more than half a decade ago as strangers. I think I speak for most of us here when I say that I found my first day slightly intimidating, to say the least. I was surrounded by a sea of strangers in the Jordan Lecture Theatre. I didn't know anyone, and I didn't know what to expect. And when the dean gave his opening address on that day and talked about the numerous cases we'd have to study, the many assessments that we'd have to go through, and the far-flung district hospitals that we'd have to do our hostel learning at, I was flabbergasted, and I started doubting myself. Had I even made the right choice? But today, standing here on stage, I look around and I do not see strangers. I do not see just professional colleagues, but I see friends. I see friends who have inspired me with your skills, talents, and your strength of character. Studying, playing, and working together over the many days and nights that make up medical school have fostered a sense of camaraderie among us, a sense of camaraderie and teamwork that I'm sure will last far into our working lives. As proof, our batch has borne fruit to countless friendships, sports teams, committees, successes, and even marriages. I'm sure also the many fond memories that we have made together throughout our teaching and learning has bound us all together. The Brow Mall visits between hospital teaching, food hunting in Kluang and Batu Pahat, and also the balls, dinners, cultural fests, and other functions that make up our NUMED social calendar, to name a few. In spite of our varying backgrounds, nationalities, and cultures, today we stand as a cohort of young doctors who have proven that we have the grit and determination to succeed as long as we put our mind to it. There are so many other achievements to be proud of today. Among us are the first batch of foundation students to graduate with the MBBS. Among us are the first batch of students from NUMED on the innovative new syllabus. There are sports champions, club presidents, budding researchers, and aspiring medical educators among us. I could keep going on, but in the interest of brevity, let me summarize by saying that NUMED's batch of 2022 is the most accomplished to date. Give yourselves a round of applause, friends. Although a short disclaimer, if anyone here is from previous batches, this statement is not medical advice, but my own personal opinion. It is important to remember at this stage that we have not accomplished these achievements alone, but with the support, guidance, and care of others. I want to say a very big thank you to the parents and families who have supported us, both materially and emotionally, through the roller coaster ride that is medical school. Thank you to our lecturers and staff who have educated, disciplined us, and inspired us to do our very best for our future patients. And on behalf of the medics graduating here today, thank you to the nurses, medical assistants, and doctors who have taken us under their wing throughout hospitals and clinics in Johor, in spite of their busyness. And not to forget, the many patients throughout our clinical teaching that have taught us more about medicine than any textbook could ever care to give. It takes an individual to pass an exam, but it takes an entire community, an entire institution to train a good doctor. Last but not least, I want to express my gratitude to all of you, my peers, as well. If not for the encouragement of several of you in the months before, I would not even have had the courage to stand up here and deliver this speech. If it were not for many of you, I would never have been able to get through the challenges and lows of medical school and in my personal life. The pandemic imposed a sense of isolation among us. We could not meet physically in labs, classrooms, or clinics. But our NUMED community triumphed over that. We rose up to the occasion by providing emotional support to those of us who needed it, to the many students stranded far from home, to the countless online events and catch-ups that sprung up to keep us all connected when COVID-19 took away our strength that lay in solidarity. I am blessed to count all of you as my colleagues, and I think a similar sentiment holds true for the rest of us. It is on that note that I leave you with the words of the poet, John Donne. No man is an island entire of itself. Because we as human beings live and work in community, success is always a collaborative effort. Obtaining a medical degree does not just mean that we have what it takes to become a doctor, but it also means that we have the capacity to care for the sick and suffering, and are part of a fraternity of professionals that will look after each other as we endeavor to look after others. I pass on anecdotal advice from seniors when I say this. The going is only going to get tougher. Life as a junior doctor will be hard and sometimes discouraging, and so always remember to value and support your colleagues on your good days and earnestly seek help from them on your bad days. Some hints of which I'm sure we've seen in medical school. Working together is the only way to ensure that we can continue in the noble profession of saving lives sustainably. Therefore, my friends, treat others justly, with kindness, and always have the humility to learn from our colleagues, seniors, and most importantly, our patients. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, batch of 2022, for the many fond memories and for inspiring me to be the best that I can be. All the best, for I'm sure many bright futures lie ahead. Thank you.
Excellent, Jerry. Excellent. There's a certificate for your efforts. Well done.
Will you please stand?
Well, the ceremony is just about at an end, and I hope that you will all enjoy the afternoon and perhaps into the evening to celebrate this really joyous occasion. Thanks to Jerry for that fantastic oration. The student orator is always one of the high spots of the whole proceedings, and I think he encapsulated an awful lot of sentiments and thoughts in there that are worth reflecting on. When I was giving my speech, I think there were one or two points that I made, but there are perhaps a couple that I would just like to add to here now, somewhat spontaneously. The first is that this is really quite an exceptional year, as Jerry perhaps pointed out, and I know he's a little biased because he's in it himself, but actually, comparatively speaking, this year of graduates, these new doctors, have probably, pound for pound, done better than any year so far, particularly when compared with their peers across in Newcastle in the UK. They have some of the best students that we have actually produced across the whole of the campuses. So that's a remarkable achievement, and I applaud you given all that you've had to go through. And then the other thing that I really wanted to point out, I know he's a modest soul, but the man to my left, Professor Chris Baldwin, the Chief Executive Officer here at NUMED, and the colleagues, some of whom are behind me, a number are in the front row here that you saw come in with the procession, and many are not here today because they're taking a well-earned break. I know you know as graduates and doctors now, and I know that the parents and family and friends here today, you probably know just how close we got to having to actually push the year back a whole year because of the challenges of COVID. And the fact that we couldn't think it was going to get worse, and then it got worse. And then the team, led by Chris and the colleagues here and not here, somehow pulled together to be able to get these students over the line, which partly refers to what I was saying about very short notice changes in timetable. And it meant that they didn't have to be deferred. It meant that you were able to qualify today. So I really would like to say a massive thank you to all of the staff, led by Chris and led by Pramila here through the professional service team, for their efforts, because they missed holidays. They worked incredibly long hours to get the teaching into an online format that meant that these students were able to graduate today. So thanks, Chris, and to everyone here. And then very finally from me, because I'm sure you're all thirsty and want to get out for something to drink and to celebrate, but I would just like to, Professor Harry gave a really nice lead on the Hippocratic Oath. And picking up on something that Jerry said, you will have difficult times, we all do. And I think that within the Hippocratic Oath, I would just like to draw your attention to the point which is nearly at the end, actually, where it says, I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard. What I will finish with is just by saying to the new doctors in front of me here today, look after yourselves, okay? Healthy mind, healthy body. Make sure that you try and eat well, sleep well, and stay fit. And for goodness sakes, look, if you spot something in a colleague that you think is abnormal, that you think is perhaps signifying that they may have some pressures and some stresses, don't be afraid to ask. And sometimes you have to ask more than once in order to elicit that from the colleague, and to try and recognize it in yourself as well. Sometimes less is more. Working extra hours to try and catch up is not always productive. Trying to take a break and making sure that you then can come back refreshed and be more efficient is absolutely hard to do at the time, but will bear dividend for you in the future. So please, please, please remember that. And as I try to say to many of you coming across here, the very best of luck. And so it only remains for me to conclude proceedings by saying that this congregation is now dissolved.
Remember how it started? Fresh-faced at a new pace, unsure of what's in store, reeling with mixed feelings in a way we'd never known before. We've trekked from all over, to learn, to change, to grow. Some journeyed across the globe, some from down the road. United by vulnerability, we were all leaving home. The trepidation left us when we knew we weren't alone. This is our home. Newcastle. We are world-changing, and stepping onto campus was only just the start. What went on inside these buildings has made us who we are, each school of ingenuity with determination at its heart. But this is not our end. This is our journey. And the contents of our lectures were just half of what we'd end up learning. We learned to live, as individuals and together, balancing deadlines and social lives, friendships that will last forever. And now we're all sat wondering, what will be our next endeavour?
I want to make sure marginalised voices are heard across the globe.
I want to improve people's quality of life.
I want to impact society for the better.
So what's next? We're back again with those same mixed feelings, and the thought of doing it all again is growing ever more appealing. But we'll move forward. Researching, discovering, making an impact and leading. Like those who came before us, we stand with pride, proceeding. Joining a unique global network that ensures we never stop exceeding. We are Newcastle Alumni.
The support and encouragement from the Alumni Network continues to help me on my journey.
It allowed me to develop my own version of success.
It gave me the opportunity to end up here, the financial centre of the world.
It gave me a sense of purpose and a determination to create a better world for the next generation.
So no matter where we came from, and no matter where we go, the paths we take and the journeys we make, we know that Newcastle University was our home.